Well, the perch certainly haven't played ball this morning, but the pike definitely have. You never know when you could come across a pike, even when you're targeting perch. And I've had a great morning's fishing. I'm glad I bought this bigger net and the mat today, because otherwise I wouldn't have fitted that pike in this Street Fighter. Autumn's a fantastic time of the year to be out targeting perch. They don't have to be big fish like this one to make for great fun on a light spinning outfit. And I'm just going to be talking to you today about how I go about exploring new venues and having some great fun targeting perch of all sizes. The conditions today are brilliant for targeting perch. It's nice and overcast, there's fish topping, which is always a good sign, and hopefully that means the perch are active as well. And because of that, I'm fishing a pretty active method by fishing on a straight retrieve. So that way I'm able to fan cast and cover lots of water. I've got a shad on at the moment, which is a great bait fish imitation. And hopefully, at some point this morning, I'll stumble across a shoulder perch and catch a few. Oh, there's a big... Oh, I've just seen a really big pike down there. Oh, I just had a knock as well. Oh, it just came off. That one was so small that it could only hold on to the tail. Is it going to have another go? Oh, it did. I think I'll have another cast, see if I can find a bigger one. Like I said earlier, I've started off by fishing a straight retrieve because there's a lot of fish topping and I can tell that the fish are active, so it's a great searching method and it's probably the most simple retrieve that you can make when fishing a lure. It's just a case of casting out, count down to whatever depth you feel that the fish are sitting, so I've given that about 5 seconds. I'm just going to lower the rod and just wind it back nice and steadily. It's a deadly method, and what you'll often find is fish can sometimes follow you right to the bank, and if that ever happens, always let the lure fall to the bottom, because if you lift your lure out of the water, obviously, you know, the fish is just going to stay there and, well, you're not going to catch it. But if you let the lure fall to the bottom, what will often happen is that the fish will follow it down and take it. So I don't know whether you just saw that on the camera, but a few fish have just topped there. They're obviously really high up, so I'm going to start retrieving straight away. If those perch are looking up, which I would say they probably are, then my lure's going to be in the area where they're looking. So, and this is the bit where I wait for a bite. Shads come in many different profiles with varying sized paddle tails. Some have got really wide, large paddle tails that create a lot of vibration and movement, and then others are much more subtle for when the going gets tough and you might want to finesse things a little bit. And it's worth chopping and changing and experimenting with different types of shads as the day progresses, just to see if one works better than the other. Well, I've had quite a few casts in this swim now, and I've tried 3 different lures. I've lost a couple of fish and had a follow, but I think it's time for a change of location now. So we'll repeat the process in another swim. Yeah, here we go. Well, this feels a bit bigger than a perch, so I think this is either the mother of all perch or a pike, which is eating the perch. I think it's quite a nice fish actually. Oh yeah. Yeah, that is. Oh yeah. Oh. Didn't like that, getting near the net. Right. Yes. We're out targeting perch, but you never really know what you're going to hook next, and that's why I always use a wire trace even when I'm using relatively small lures, because you never know when you'll pick up a pike, and that's a really nice fish. If I would have been bitten off by that, it wouldn't have been good to have left a hook in the fish, but I would have been gutted as well, because that's quite a nice pike. Cool, that's a cracking fish. That is a cracking looking pike. I'm well happy with that. What a stunning looking fish. The water here is crystal clear, so those markings are so vivid. Well, that was a nice surprise. I'd just made a cast and just started a straight retrieve. I think I was only about 2 or 3 reel turns in, and that pike took my slick shad. So it was just over 1 metre. It was a cracking fish, but it just goes to show the size of the fish you can land on quite a light but balanced outfit. So I was quite lucky to land that fish, because if you look closely at the lure I have rigged here, which was a slick shad rigged on a 7-gram jig head, the hook has actually bent open, so I am going to change the jig head now. But this is a Prism X twitcher. It casts 3 to 14 grams, so it's perfect for small lures like this that I would normally use for targeting perch. But if you hook a big fish like that, it's got plenty of backbone to land them, and it made for a great fight. I've paired this up with a 2/500 size Prism X reel, and that's spooled with 20-pound braid, which I think is 0.12 diameter, this particular braid. And then that goes down to a fine wire trace. So this is 13 pound. It's one of the new Fox pre-tied 49 strand traces. And then I can just change my lure whenever I feel the need to. So although it's a light setup, it's well balanced, and with a light wire trace attached, it means that I can land whatever predator I hook. Well, the pike definitely seemed to be more active than the perch this morning, which is not quite how I intended the day to pan out, but we'll continue to target the perch anyway because they're really good conditions. But it does go to show that chopping and changing different types of lures can turn a quiet day's fishing into a productive one. So I've changed lures about 3 or 4 times before I caught the first fish of the day, which was a perch, just as Ben the cameraman arrived. And I changed lures 3 or 4 times as well after that before I caught that pike. So it does pay to, if you want to travel light and cover lots of water have a very versatile setup that you can fish a variety of different types of lures with. And this Prism X Twitcher is a great all-rounder for fishing all kinds of different types of lures, up to around about 10 centimetres in length, I'd say. This rod's 6'11" or 210 centimetres, and it's a nice all-round length as well. It's not too short, so you know, you're not going to get the distance, but it's not too long in that you can fish in quite tight, overgrown swims. So it's a great all-round rod, and because it's got a very crisp action as well, you can fish a variety of different types of lures with it. So I mean, I've got a shad on at the moment, but I could change to a crankbait. I could fish a spinnerbait or spinner if I wanted to, and it's going to fish those lures really nicely as well. So a very nice all-round setup that you can use for a variety of different lures. I normally carry a couple of boxes with me in my chest pack when I head out lure fishing for perch, and just a small variety of different types of lures in different colours will cover you for most situations. Today I've been predominantly fishing shads either on a straight retrieve or hopping them along the bottom, and I've been fishing them on a normal jig head because it's not that snaggy here, and I've also been casting mostly out into open water. The soft bait that seems to be getting me out of jail today is the 7 centimetre slick shad, so I'm going to rig one of these up. I've chosen a 7 gram 1/0 jig head, which I think will be a perfect fit for this slick shad. The hook's going to come back about halfway down the body, so a nice distance, so the hook's a little way back, so you've got a good chance of hooking any fish that take it, but not too far back so that it impacts the action of the lure. So we want that soft bait to be running straight along the shank of the hook like this. You don't want it bent upwards or downwards because that's going to affect the action of the lure and it won't swim properly. So what I normally do is mark by eye where the hook is going to come out of the soft bait. So we know it's going to be sort of along this little ridge in the back. So I'm just going to create a tiny little nick in the back of the soft bait. I'm then going to get the point of the hook and push it through the nose, sliding it so that the hook is running through the middle of the body, and then push the point out where I've made the little nick, slide the body round until it reaches the jig head, and hey presto, that's the rigged lure. Yep, what's this? Oh, so there's another little jack. Well, it's coming up to midday now, and this morning's perch fishing has failed, basically. The pike have really been up for it though, and like that big one I caught earlier, this is an absolutely immaculate looking fish, and hopefully it grows into one as big as that fish I caught earlier on. So it's been great fun though, and even though the perch haven't been on the ball, it's been great to catch a few pike, and it's made for a nice morning's fishing.